The morning sun rose over New Thyros, casting long shadows across the empty streets. Kelvak pressed his three-fingered hand against the window of his apartment, watching the silent city below. 2 months ago, 12 million Therians had called this planet home. Now fewer than 800,000 remained alive. The plague had come from the stars, literally. A meteor fragment had crashed in the southern continent, carrying something that their scientists could not understand or stop. At first, the Therian doctors thought they could handle it. Their medical technology was advanced, their hospitals were clean and modern. They had defeated diseases before, but this was different. This alien sickness attacked their triple-chambered hearts, causing them to fail one by one. The victims would grow weak, then collapse, then die within days. No medicine worked. No treatment helped. The plague spread from city to city, continent to continent, until nowhere was safe. Kelvak coughed, feeling the familiar pain in his chest. He was infected too. Soon he would join the millions who had already died. But first he had one last duty to perform. As the head of the Planetary Communication Center, Kelvak had spent the last week preparing a message. The Therian Council had made a desperate decision. They would send a distress call into space, hoping someone out there could help them. The Therians knew about other species in the galaxy. They had met the peaceful Zelkari traders who visited their system every few years. They had heard stories of dozens of different alien races. Most were too far away to help, but maybe someone would hear their call. Kelvak walked slowly to his communications station. His legs felt heavy and his breathing was getting harder. The plague was winning, but he still had time to send the message. He activated the long-range transmitters and began broadcasting on all known frequencies. The message was simple but desperate. This is Kelvak of the Therian Planetary Council, broadcasting from Kepler 442b. Our world is dying. A plague from space has killed most of our people. We have tried everything, but nothing works. Our doctors cannot stop it. Our medicine cannot cure it. We are offering everything we have to anyone who can help us. Our planet is rich in rare minerals. We have iridium, platinum, and crystals worth billions of credits. Take it all. We just want our people to live. We have heard stories of a species called humans who are good at medicine. If any humans can hear this message, please help us. We are dying. We have maybe days left, not weeks. Please, if anyone can help, come quickly. We are at coordinates 127.5 by 89.3 in the Kepler system. We will give you anything you want if you can save us. Kelvak repeated the message in 12 different languages and sent it out on emergency frequencies. Then he sat back in his chair, exhausted. He had done all he could. Now they could only wait and hope. What Kelvak did not know was that his message was being heard by more than just potential helpers. Deep in space, a Zelkari military ship picked up the transmission. But these were not the peaceful traders who sometimes visited Therian space. These were soldiers of the Zelkari hegemony, an empire that conquered weak planets and enslaved their people. Commander Vorthak listened to the Therian message with growing excitement. A planet full of valuable minerals, defended by a population that was almost dead from disease. This was perfect. His battle fleet could arrive, claim to be offering help, and then take control of everything. Navigation. Vorthak ordered. Set course for the Kepler system. Maximum speed. Yes, Commander. Estimated arrival time is 72 hours. Perfect. Send a message to the Therians. Tell them help is coming. Tell them the Zelkari hegemony will protect them from the plague. Vorthak smiled with his sharp teeth. By the time they arrived, the Therians would be so desperate that they would welcome anyone. Once his ships were in orbit, the planet would belong to the hegemony. The survivors would work in the mines until they died, and the Zelkari would be rich. But the Therian message was heard by others as well. Far away in a different part of space, a human medical ship was traveling between star systems. The ship was called the Asclepius, and it was part of the Terran Medical Corps. Dr. Sarah Chen was reviewing patient files in her office when her communications officer knocked on the door. Doctor, we are receiving a distress call. It sounds urgent. Put it on the main screen, Dr. Chen said. As she listened to Kelvak's desperate message, Dr. Chen felt her heart sink. An entire planet dying from an alien plague and only one medical ship in range to help. The Asclepius was well equipped, but it was just one ship. How could they possibly save 800,000 people spread across an entire world? But then Dr. Chen remembered something. She remembered her training, and the special protocols that every medical corps officer learned but hoped never to use. She remembered why her father had created these protocols 40 years ago, after the disaster at Centauri Prime. Dr. Chen had not always been a doctor. Before medical school, she had been Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Space Navy. She had commanded warships in 3 different conflicts before retiring to pursue medicine. But once you were part of the military, you never really left. You just changed how you served. Communications, she said, her voice becoming crisp and commanding. Send a reply to the Therians immediately. What should the message say, Doctor? Tell them medical aid is coming. Tell them to maintain quarantine protocols and prepare landing zones for our ships. Estimated arrival time is 18 hours. The communications officer looked confused. Doctor, we cannot reach their system in 18 hours. It will take us at least 3 days, Dr. Chen smiled. We are not going alone. Activate Emergency Medical Protocol 7. Authorization Chen Alpha 779er. The communications officer's eyes went wide. Protocol 7 had not been used in decades. It was reserved for the most extreme medical emergencies when civilian populations faced extinction. Doctor, are you sure? Protocol 7 will bring— I know exactly what it will bring, Dr. Chen interrupted. Send the activation codes immediately. Include full details of the Therian situation. Mark it as a Category 1 extinction event. As the activation codes went out across space, Dr. Chen began preparing for what was to come. The Therians thought they were getting a few medical ships to help with their plague. They had no idea what human medical protocols really meant. In different parts of the galaxy, alarms began sounding on 12 massive ships. These were not medical vessels. They were the most powerful warships in the human fleet, but they served under the Terran Medical Corps. Their captains received the same message. Medical emergency. Civilian population facing extinction. All speed to Kepler 442b. The ships began changing course immediately. Within hours, they would meet at the jump point and travel together to the Therian system, but they would not arrive as the peaceful medical mission the Therians expected. They would arrive as something that had never been seen before in this part of the galaxy. They would arrive as human medicine in action, with all the force and determination that implied. Back on Kepler 442b, Kelvac received Dr. Chen's reply message. He smiled for the first time in weeks. Help was coming. Maybe his people would survive after all. He had no way of knowing that in trying to save his world, he had started something much bigger than a simple medical mission. The humans were coming, and they were bringing everything they had. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the medical bay of the Asclepius, watching her team prepare equipment for the mission ahead. They had been traveling at maximum speed for 6 hours since receiving the Therian distress call. In 12 more hours, they would reach the meeting point where the other ships would be waiting. Her second-in-command, Dr. James Torres, approached with a worried expression. Sarah, I have been thinking about this mission. Even with Protocol 7 active, how can we possibly treat 800,000 patients? That is more people than we have ever handled before. Dr. Chen checked the readings on a portable medical scanner. James, how long have you been with the Medical Corps? 5 years, Doctor. But I do not understand what that has to do with— Then you have never seen a full Protocol 7 deployment. Most people in the Corps have not. The last time it was used was before you joined us. Dr. Chen set down the scanner and looked at her colleague. Tell me, what do you think the Medical Corps really is? Dr. Torres looked confused. We are doctors. We provide medical aid to people who need it, especially in space and on frontier worlds. That is part of it, Dr. Chen agreed. But why do you think our medical ships carry military-grade shields? Why do our doctors train in combat medicine? Why does every medical corps officer hold a military rank? For protection, I suppose. Space can be dangerous, Dr. Chen nodded. Exactly. But protection from what? Pirates, natural disasters? She paused. James, let me tell you about Centauri Prime. Dr. Torres had heard the name before, but never the full story. Every medical corps officer knew that Centauri Prime was important to their history, but the details were not widely shared. 40 years ago, Dr. Chen continued, there was a plague on Centauri Prime, much like what the Therians are facing now. My father, Admiral Marcus Chen, was commanding a naval task force nearby when the distress call came in. She walked to the window, looking out at the stars rushing past. He detached 3 medical ships from his fleet and sent them to help. Good ships with good doctors and plenty of supplies. They arrived at Centauri Prime and began treating the sick. What happened? Pirates. A whole fleet of them, attracted by reports of a defenseless planet. They attacked the medical ships first, destroying 2 and capturing 1. Then they landed on the planet and began looting while people were dying in the streets. Dr. Torres was quiet, beginning to understand. My father arrived with his battle fleet 6 hours later. He destroyed the pirates, but it was too late. 500,000 people had died while the medical ships were under attack. The doctors who could have saved them were either dead or captured. Dr. Chen turned back to face her colleague. That night, my father wrote the new protocols for the medical corps. Never again would medical ships arrive without protection. Never again would doctors be forced to abandon patients because of military threats. So Protocol 7 means that medical aid arrives with enough firepower to level a continent if necessary. The patient comes first always. But you cannot treat patients while under attack. 12 hours later, the Asclepius dropped out of hyperspace at the rally point. Dr. Torres, who had never seen a Protocol 7 deployment, stared out the window in amazement. Waiting for them were 12 of the largest warships in the human fleet. Each one was over 2 kilometers long, armored like a fortress and carrying enough weapons to destroy entire fleets. But these were not normal military vessels. They were medical corps ships painted white with red crosses, their hulls modified to carry hospitals that could treat thousands of patients at once. The flagship was the Hippocrates, commanded by Admiral Rebecca Martinez. She had been Dr. Chen's student years ago, back when Chen was still in the regular Navy. Now Martinez commanded the most powerful medical task force in human space. Admiral Martinez to Dr. Chen, came the communication. Good to see you again, Sarah. I received your Protocol 7 activation. Looks like we have a serious situation. Good to see you too, Rebecca. How quickly can we get to the Therian system? We can jump in 4 hours. I have been reviewing the intelligence on the plague and the local political situation. We may have complications, Dr. Chen frowned. What kind of complications? Long-range sensors detected a Zelkari military fleet heading for the same system. Based on their course and speed, they will arrive about the same time we do. Zelkari military? I thought the Zelkari were peaceful traders. Some are. But the Zelkari hegemony is different. They are an empire that conquers weak planets. They probably heard the same distress call we did and decided to take advantage of the situation. Dr. Chen felt anger building in her chest. So while the Therians are dying from plague, these Zelkari want to conquer them? That appears to be the plan. My intelligence officer believes they will arrive, offer protection from the plague, and then gradually take control of the planet. Not while we are there, they will not. Admiral Martinez smiled. I was hoping you would say that. All ships are ready for immediate deployment. We have full medical facilities, enough supplies to treat 1 million patients, and enough firepower to discourage anyone from interfering with our work. 4 hours later, the human task force jumped to hyperspace. They traveled in formation, 12 massive warships surrounding the smaller medical vessel Asclepius. To any observer, they would look like a military invasion force, but their mission was purely medical. On the bridge of the Hippocrates, Admiral Martinez reviewed the tactical situation with her officers. Intelligence, what do we know about Therian technology? Minimal military capability, Admiral. They are a peaceful species with technology focused on mining and medicine. Their planetary defense consists of a few orbital platforms with light weapons, probably designed to stop asteroids rather than hostile ships. And the Zelkari force? 12 ships, but much smaller than ours. Typical raider configuration. Fast, lightly armored, designed to intimidate rather than fight a real battle. They are used to attacking defenseless targets. Medical status of the Therian population? Dr. Chen answered from her position at the medical station. Critical. Based on their transmission, they are losing approximately 50,000 people per day. The plague appears to be some kind of alien virus that attacks their cardiovascular system. We have treatments that should work, but we need to get them deployed quickly. Understood. All ships prepare for emergency medical deployment. Security teams prepare for potential hostile contact. Remember, people, our primary mission is medical, but we cannot treat patients while under attack. 1 hour before arrival at the Therian system, the task force received an update from long-range sensors. The Zelkari fleet had already arrived and was in orbit around Kepler 442b. Admiral, reported the sensor officer, The Zelkari ships appear to be broadcasting to the planet. They are claiming to offer protection and medical aid. Admiral Martinez turned to Dr. Chen. Sarah, how quickly can we deploy medical teams once we arrive? If the area is secure, we can have treatment centers operational within 6 hours. But if we are under attack, the area will be secure, Admiral Martinez said firmly. All ships, battle stations. We are going in hot. Down on the planet's surface, Kelvak and the other Therian leaders watched the Zelkari ships with growing unease. The aliens had arrived claiming to offer help, but they demanded immediate access to the mining facilities. They also insisted that all Therian military personnel surrender their weapons for everyone's safety. I do not trust them, Kelvak said to the other council members. They talk about helping us, but they ask many questions about our mineral reserves. But what choice do we have? Asked Councillor Thessa. Our people are still dying. If these Zelkari have medicine that can help, they have not offered any medicine yet, Kelvak pointed out. They only talk about protection and taking control of our cities. Before anyone could respond, their communication system activated. A new message was coming in, but not from the Zelkari ships. Therian planetary government. This is Admiral Rebecca Martinez of the Terran Medical Corps. We are arriving in your system now in response to your medical emergency. Prepare to receive immediate humanitarian aid. Kelvak looked at the other council members in confusion. Terran Medical Corps? But we already have the Zelkari here offering help. Yes, said Councillor Thessa, but these humans are the ones we asked for specifically. Maybe they can really help us. Neither of them realized that in the next few minutes their quiet star system was about to become very crowded and very dangerous. The first thing that appeared above Kepler 442b was not what anyone expected. Space itself seemed to bend and twist as 12 massive shapes dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. The Therians, watching from their observation stations, could hardly believe what they were seeing. These were not the small medical ships they had hoped for. These were warships, each one larger than anything the Therians had ever built. The lead ship alone was over 2 kilometers long, bristling with weapon systems that made their mining lasers look like toys. The hull was painted white with red medical crosses, but there was no mistaking what these vessels really were. Kelvak stared at his display screen in shock. Those are human ships? They look like they could destroy our entire planet. Maybe they are not here to help us, whispered Councillor Thessa. Maybe they are here to conquer us, just like the Zelkari. But even as they spoke, things were happening in orbit that they could not see. The Zelkari commander Vorthok was staring at his own sensors with growing alarm. 12 human dreadnoughts had just appeared in his system, and they were moving into formation around his much smaller fleet. Communications, Vorthak ordered. Contact the human commander immediately. Demand to know why they are interfering in Zelkari operations. Before his communications officer could respond, an incoming message appeared on the main screen. A human woman in a white uniform with military insignia looked directly at Vorthak with cold, professional eyes. Commander Vorthak of the Zelkari vessel Bloodfang. This is Admiral Rebecca Martinez of the Terran Medical Corps. You are currently in violation of galactic medical emergency protocols by maintaining military vessels in an active medical zone. Vorthak laughed. Medical zone? We are here to provide protection to the Therians. We arrived first. This system is under Zelkari protection now. Negative, Commander. The Therians requested medical assistance from the Terran Medical Corps. This system is now designated as a medical emergency zone under Protocol 7. All non-medical military vessels must withdraw immediately. You cannot order me to leave, Vorthak snarled. The Zelkari hegemony does not recognize your authority here. Admiral Martinez's expression did not change. Commander, I am not ordering you to leave. I am informing you of the consequences of remaining. You have exactly 10 minutes to withdraw your vessels beyond the system boundary. Any ship that remains after that time will be considered a threat to patients under our medical care. The transmission ended, leaving Vorthak staring at a blank screen. Around him, his bridge crew looked nervous. They had signed up to raid defenseless planets, not fight battles with major military powers. Sir, his tactical officer said quietly, their ships outmass our entire fleet by a factor of 10. And these are humans, sir. The intelligence reports say humans do not bluff about military matters. They are medical ships, Vorthak insisted. They will not risk a battle. Sir, those are medical corps vessels. But they are still human dreadnoughts. Each one carries enough firepower to sterilize a planet. Down on the surface, the Therians were receiving a very different message from the human admiral. Her voice was calm and reassuring as she addressed their planetary government. Therian leaders, I am Admiral Martinez. Dr. Chen sends her regards and wants you to know that medical teams are preparing to deploy immediately. However, we have detected hostile military vessels in your system that may interfere with medical operations. Kelvac activated the communication system. Admiral Martinez, the Zelkari ships said they were here to help us. Are they not medical ships too? Negative. The Zelkari vessels are military raiders. Their intention is to exploit your weakened condition and seize control of your planet. This is unacceptable during a medical emergency. But what can you do? There are many Zelkari ships. Admiral Martinez smiled slightly. Counselor Kelvac, let me explain something about human medical doctrine. We learned long ago that medicine and security cannot be separated. You cannot treat patients while under attack. Therefore, medical corps vessels are designed to eliminate any threat to patient safety. As she spoke, the human ships began moving into new positions. Instead of the aggressive formations the Zelkari expected, they arranged themselves in a pattern that looked almost like a flower, with the medical ship Asclepius at the center. But anyone with military training could see what it really was: a defensive formation designed to protect the hospital ship while providing clear firing. Lanes in all directions, all Therian ground stations came. Dr. Chen's voice over the communication system. This is Dr. Sarah Chen aboard the medical vessel Asclepius. We are beginning immediate deployment of medical equipment. Please prepare landing zones for our treatment facilities. What came down from the human ships was not what the Therians expected. Yes, there were medical pods and portable hospitals. But there were also defensive weapons, shield generators, and atmospheric processors that could create clean air domes over entire cities. The humans worked with incredible efficiency. Within 2 hours, medical treatment centers were being assembled in 6 major Therian population centers. Each center was surrounded by a protective shield and defended by automated weapon systems that could shoot down anything from aircraft to missiles. Dr. Chen, Kelvac radioed from the main treatment center. Your people work very fast. But why do you need so many weapons? The plague is not something you can shoot. You are correct, Counselor. But there are other threats to consider. Our sensors show that the Zelkari ships are still in your system, and their intentions are hostile. We cannot allow them to interfere with medical treatment. Meanwhile, in orbit, the 10-minute deadline had passed. Commander Vorthak had decided to call what he thought was a human bluff. His ships remained in position around the planet, claiming to provide protection to the Therians. Admiral Martinez opened a channel to all ships in the system, including the Therian observation stations. All vessels, this is Admiral Martinez. The medical emergency zone is now in full effect. Any ship that interferes with medical operations will face immediate response. You cannot threaten us, Vorthak transmitted back. We have done nothing hostile. We are protecting the Therians from the plague. Commander, you misunderstand the situation. Threatening patients under medical care is considered an act of war by the Terran Federation. You have placed military vessels in a medical zone without authorization. Your presence here prevents us from fully deploying our medical resources. Then leave, Vorthak replied. We were here first. What happened next took exactly 37 seconds and changed everything everyone thought they knew about human medicine. The dreadnought Hippocrates fired a single, precisely targeted energy beam. It struck the Zelkari flagship's main weapons array, completely destroying it without harming any other system. The beam was so accurate that it left the ship's life support and engines untouched. Medical precision demonstration complete, Admiral Martinez announced calmly. Commander Vorthak, your ship's weapons have been surgically removed. This is what we call a medical procedure, removing something dangerous without harming the patient. The other Zelkari ships immediately tried to target the human vessels, but found their targeting systems jammed by signals they could not block. Every time they tried to lock weapons, human countermeasures disabled their systems faster than they could reset them. Commander, Admiral Martinez continued, you now have a choice. You can withdraw your damaged vessels for repairs, or we can provide additional medical attention to your weapon systems. I should warn you that human medical procedures can be quite extensive when dealing with aggressive infections. Commander Vorthak stared at his tactical display in disbelief. In half a minute, the humans had demonstrated that they could destroy his entire fleet whenever they chose. But they had done it in a way that killed no one and barely damaged his ships. All ships, he ordered quietly, withdraw to the system boundary. Emergency jump to hyperspace. Very good, Commander. Have a safe journey. Next time you are in the area, remember that attacking patients under medical care is bad for your health. As the Zelkari ships fled the system, the Therians watched in amazement. The humans had ended a potential battle without fighting, and they had done it while treating it like a medical procedure. Dr. Chen's voice came over the communication system again. All Therian medical personnel, please report to the nearest treatment center. We are ready to begin fighting this plague, and now that the system is secure, we can give it our full attention. Kelvak looked around at the human medical facility that had appeared near his city. It was larger than their biggest hospital, better equipped than anything they had ever seen, and defended by weapons that had just forced an entire enemy fleet to retreat. Counselor Thessa, he said, I think we are about to learn what human medicine really means. Dr. Sarah Chen walked through the main treatment center that her teams had built outside New Thyros, checking on the first group of Therian patients. The facility was impressive even by human standards, a fully equipped hospital that could treat 5,000 patients at once, all assembled in less than 4 hours. But what amazed the Therians most was not the speed of construction. It was how the humans approached medicine itself. Dr. Chen called out Kelvak, who was now feeling much better after receiving human treatment. Your nanobots are incredible. I can feel my heart getting stronger already. But I have a question. What is it, Counselor? Why does your medical station have plasma cannons on the roof? Dr. Chen smiled. Those are not just plasma cannons. They are medical defense systems. You see, Counselor, human medicine operates on a simple principle. The patient's safety comes first. Always. She gestured to the treatment center around them. This facility can treat thousands of patients, but only if it remains secure. Those weapons ensure that no one can attack our patients while they are receiving care. Dr. James Torres approached from the critical care section. Sarah, we have processed over 3,000 patients in the last 6 hours. The nanobotic treatment is working perfectly. The alien virus cannot adapt fast enough to counter our medical systems. Excellent. What about the other treatment centers? All 6 facilities are operating at full capacity. We should have the majority of the infected population treated within 48 hours. Kelvak listened to this conversation with wonder. Dr. Chen, how is this possible? Your medical technology is beyond anything we imagined. Counselor, humans have been fighting diseases for thousands of years. But we learned something important during our expansion into space. Diseases are not the only threat to patients. Sometimes you have to fight other enemies as well. She led him to a window that looked out over the treatment center. In the distance, they could see one of the human dreadnoughts in orbit, its massive bulk clearly visible even from the surface. When humans first went to the stars, Dr. Chen explained, our medical ships were small and poorly defended. We lost many good doctors and nurses to pirates and raiders who attacked medical facilities, so we changed our approach. You made your medical ships into warships? Not exactly. We made our warships into medical ships. Every vessel in the medical corps is fully equipped for both healing and fighting. Every doctor in the corps is trained in combat medicine. Every nurse knows how to operate defensive weapons. Kelvak was quiet for a moment, processing this information. So when we asked for medical aid, you got the full protection of the Terran Medical Corps. No one threatens our patients, ever. As if to emphasize her point, an alarm sounded throughout the facility. Dr. Chen immediately activated her communication device. Treatment Center Alpha to Hippocrates. Report status, Admiral Martinez's voice came back immediately. Sarah, we have detected 3 ships approaching the system. Configuration suggests Zelkari design, but smaller than the previous fleet. Are they hostile? Unknown. They are broadcasting a message requesting permission to enter the medical zone. Dr. Chen frowned. Put them through. A new voice came over the communication system, speaking accented but clear standard. Human medical ships, this is Captain Zelrak of the Zelkari trade vessel Prophet's Dream. We request permission to enter your medical zone. We have wounded crew members who need treatment. Admiral Martinez responded first. Captain Zelrak, explain the nature of your medical emergency. Admiral, my ship was attacked by pirates near the Kepler Nebula. We have 12 crew members with serious injuries. Our medical facilities are not sufficient to treat them. We heard that human medical ships were in this system. Dr. Chen activated her transmitter. Captain Zelrak, this is Dr. Chen. Are you affiliated with the Zelkari military vessels that were in this system earlier? No, Doctor. We are civilian traders. The military ships you encountered belong to the hegemony. We are independent merchants who were trying to avoid them when we were attacked. Admiral Martinez, Dr. Chen said. What does your tactical analysis show? 3 small ships, minimal weapons, extensive damage to their hulls. It looks like they really were attacked. No threat to our operations. Dr. Chen made her decision quickly. Captain Zelrak, you are cleared to approach Treatment Center Gamma. Prepare your wounded for immediate transfer to our medical facilities. Thank you, Doctor. We will comply with all your medical protocols. 2 hours later, Dr. Chen was examining the injured Zelkari crew members in Treatment Center Gamma. Their injuries were severe: burns from energy weapons, broken bones from explosive decompression, and internal damage from radiation exposure. Dr. Torres, she called to her colleague, prepare full trauma treatment for 12 patients. Priority 1 medical care. Captain Zelrak watched nervously as human medical teams surrounded his injured crew. Doctor, will they be all right? Captain, your people have serious injuries, but nothing we cannot treat. They will make full recoveries, even though we are Zelkari, even though our military attacked you earlier. Dr. Chen looked at him with surprise. Captain, what does your species have to do with medical treatment? You came to us asking for help for injured people. That is all that matters. But the hegemony ships threatened your mission. The hegemony ships threatened our patients. That made them a military problem. You brought us injured crew members. That makes you a medical problem. We handle both differently. Captain Zelrak watched as human doctors worked on his crew with the same care and attention they gave to Therian patients. The medical equipment was identical, the treatment was identical, and the results were identical. Dr. Chen, he said quietly, I have heard stories about humans for years. Most species fear you because of your military power, but I think they fear the wrong thing. What do you mean? Your military is strong, yes. But what really makes humans dangerous is this. He gestured around the medical facility. You do not just conquer your enemies. You save them. You do not just defeat opposing forces. You heal them afterward. How do you fight people who will risk their lives to save yours? Dr. Chen had never thought about it that way. Captain, we do not fight people. We fight threats. Disease is a threat. Pirates are a threat. Military fleets that attack medical facilities are threats. But injured crew members are not threats. They are patients, and you treat all patients the same? Of course. Medical care is not political. If someone is hurt, we help them. It does not matter what species they are or what government they belong to. Captain Zelrak was quiet for a long time, watching human medical teams work. Finally, he spoke again. Doctor, when we return to our home system, we will tell other traders about what we saw here. We will tell them that humans do not just offer the best protection in the galaxy. You also offer the best medical care. That is kind of you, Captain. It is not kindness, Doctor. It is good business advice. Any trader who knows about human medical capabilities will want access to them. 3 days later, the plague on Kepler 442b was completely eliminated. The human nanobotic treatments had not only cured the infected population, but had also created immunity against future outbreaks of the alien virus. Kelvac stood in the main treatment center, watching human teams pack up their equipment. Dr. Chen, your people work miracles. How can we ever thank you? You already did, Counselor. You asked for help and you let us provide it. That is all the thanks we need. But surely there is something we can offer in return. Our mineral wealth, perhaps? Dr. Chen shook her head. The medical corps does not charge for emergency treatment. However, we would like to establish a permanent medical station in your system if you are willing. Of course. But why? This part of the galaxy lacks adequate medical facilities. A station here could serve dozens of nearby systems, and after what happened with the hegemony, you might benefit from having a permanent medical corps presence. Kelvac smiled. You mean having human warships in our system would discourage other raiders? I mean having human medical facilities in your system would provide health care to anyone who needs it. The defensive capabilities are just a side benefit. That evening, Admiral Martinez submitted her mission report to Terran Command. The summary was brief and professional. Medical emergency response successful. Plague eliminated. Patient population restored to full health. Local threats neutralized without casualties. Zelkari civilian vessel provided humanitarian aid. No human casualties reported. Request permission to establish permanent medical station in Kepler system. But the real impact of the mission was just beginning. News of what had happened spread quickly through the local trade networks. Within weeks, ships from a dozen different species were arriving at the new human medical station, seeking treatment for everything from routine injuries to exotic diseases. And somewhere in space, the surviving ships of the Zelkari hegemony were spreading a different kind of message. They told other military commanders about the day they encountered human medicine in action. Never attack a system under medical corps protection, they warned. The humans treat healing the same way they treat warfare, with overwhelming force and total commitment. But then we learned what human medical aid really means. It means that when you are sick, someone will heal you. When you are threatened, someone will protect you. When you are dying, someone will save you, and they will use every tool they have, every weapon they possess, every ship in their fleet to make sure nothing stops them from helping you. Kelvak paused, looking around the room. The humans did not come to our world as conquerors. They came as healers who happened to be very good at fighting. There is a difference. Today, this medical station serves patients from dozens of species. Pirates avoid this system because they know what happens to people who threaten medical facilities. Military forces think twice before attacking civilian targets in this sector because they know the medical corps is watching. But most importantly, sick people know they can come here and receive the best medical care in the galaxy, regardless of who they are or where they come from. That is what human medical aid really means. The applause was thunderous. Representatives from species that had been enemies for decades were applauding together, united in their appreciation for what the medical station represented. After the ceremony, Dr. Chen found herself talking with Captain Zelrak, the Zelkari trader whose crew they had treated months earlier. His ship was now a regular visitor to the medical station, often bringing patients from remote systems that lacked adequate medical facilities. Dr. Chen, Captain Zelrak said, I have been thinking about our conversation 6 months ago, about how humans approach medicine and warfare. What about it, Captain? I think I understand now why other species find humans so difficult to predict. Most of us separate our activities into categories. Military is military. Medicine is medicine. Trade is trade. But humans do not think that way. How do we think? Humans think about results. You want to save lives, so you use whatever tools work best for saving lives. Sometimes that means medicine. Sometimes that means weapons. Sometimes it means both at the same time. Dr. Chen nodded. You are not wrong, Captain. We tend to be very practical about solving problems. That is what makes you terrifying and wonderful at the same time. When humans decide to help someone, they really help, with everything they have. That evening, as the ceremony guests departed, Dr. Chen stood in her office reviewing reports from the medical station's first 6 months of operation. The numbers were impressive. Over 50,000 patients treated, 0 attacks on medical facilities, and a 99.7% patient satisfaction rating. But the real success was harder to measure. How do you quantify the value of a region of space where medical facilities are safe from attack? How do you measure the impact of a place where anyone can receive medical care regardless of their species or politics? A communication came in from Terran Command. Dr. Chen opened it, expecting routine administrative updates. Instead, she found authorization to establish 4 more medical stations in neighboring sectors, each with full medical corps protection. The message included a note from the Admiral in charge of medical corps operations. Dr. Chen, your mission has exceeded all expectations. The Kepler station has become a model for interspecies medical cooperation. More importantly, it has demonstrated that medical facilities can operate safely in contested regions of space when properly protected. Continue current operations and prepare for expansion. Dr. Chen smiled. When she had activated Protocol 7 6 months ago, she had been thinking about saving 800,000 Therians from a plague. She had not expected to start a new model for galactic medical cooperation. Her communication device beeped with an incoming message from Admiral Martinez aboard the Hippocrates. Sarah, we have received a distress call from the Vega system. Massive industrial accident on a mining station. Thousands of casualties, multiple species involved. The local medical facilities are overwhelmed. Dr. Chen activated her reply immediately. Admiral, how long until we can deploy? 6 hours if we leave immediately. But Sarah, this would be our first major deployment since Kepler. The whole galaxy will be watching to see how we handle a multi-species disaster. Then we better make sure we handle it perfectly. Activate Protocol 7. All available medical corps vessels, emergency deployment to Vega system. Understood. One more thing, Sarah. The Vegan government has specifically requested that human medical corps take charge of the disaster response. They said, and I quote, "We want the people who treat medicine like warfare and warfare like medicine." Dr. Chen laughed. Admiral, I think we may have created a reputation for ourselves. Yes, we have. And it is exactly the reputation we wanted. As the human medical ships prepared to leave for their next mission, word spread quickly through the local communications networks. 6 months after the plague crisis, the Kepler 442b system had become one of the busiest medical centers in the local sector. The human medical station, built on one of the system's moons, served patients from over 30 different species. But today was special. It was the day of the official dedication ceremony. Kelvak, now fully recovered and serving as the Therian representative to the Galactic Medical Cooperation Council, stood on the observation deck of the medical station. Through the large windows he could see the Hippocrates in orbit, along with 2 other medical corps vessels that had arrived for the ceremony. Counselor Kelvak, came a familiar voice behind him. Dr. Sarah Chen approached, wearing her dress uniform for the ceremony. "Are you ready for the big speech?" "I am nervous," Kelvak admitted. "I have never spoken to representatives from so many different worlds before." "You will do fine. Just remember to speak from the heart." Dr. Chen looked out at the assembled ships around the station. Besides the human vessels, there were ships from the Antarian Republic, the Vegan Trade Federation, the Centauri Alliance, and even a few independent traders. All had come to witness the establishment of the first joint medical facility in this region of space. "Dr. Chen," Kelvak said, "I have been wondering about something for months. Why did humans really create the medical corps the way you did? The true reason, I mean." Dr. Chen was quiet for a moment, considering her answer. "Kelvak, most species see medicine and warfare as completely separate things. Healers heal, soldiers fight, and never shall the two meet. But humans learned something different during our early expansion into space." "What did you learn?" "We learned that the universe is full of people who will attack the defenseless. Pirates who raid medical ships for supplies. Governments that blockade planets during disease outbreaks for political advantage. Military forces that target hospitals and medical facilities during wars." She turned to face him directly. "We decided that was unacceptable. If someone attacks our medical facilities, they are not just threatening our doctors and nurses. They are threatening every patient those doctors and nurses could save. That makes it personal. So you made your medical ships into warships, and no, Kelvak, we made our medical mission into something worth protecting with warships. There is a difference." Before Kelvak could ask what she meant, Admiral Martinez's voice came over the station communication system. "All personnel and guests, please report to the main auditorium for the dedication ceremony." The auditorium was packed with representatives from dozens of species. Humans sat next to Therians, who sat next to Antarans, who sat next to species that Kelvak had never seen before. At the front of the room, a large screen showed the symbol of the Galactic Medical Cooperation Council, a combination of medical symbols from 12 different species. Admiral Martinez stepped to the podium first. "Friends and colleagues, we are gathered today to dedicate this medical facility to the service of all sentient beings in this region of space. But before we begin, I want to make something clear about what this station represents." She gestured to the screen, which now showed images of the station's medical facilities. "This is not a human station that happens to treat other species. This is a joint facility, staffed by medical personnel from 8 different worlds, equipped with medical technology from a dozen different species, and designed to serve anyone who needs help. However," her voice became more serious, "this station operates under medical corps protection. That means any attack on this facility, any threat to the patients or staff here will be met with the full force of the Terran Federation military. We do not negotiate with people who threaten medical facilities." Applause filled the auditorium, but Admiral Martinez was not finished. "That said, we also do not ask questions about who needs medical care. If you are injured, if you are sick, if you need help, this station will provide it. We do not care what species you are, what government you represent, or what conflicts you might be involved in. Medicine has no politics. More applause, this time from the entire audience. Kelvac stood and walked to the podium as Admiral Martinez sat down. He looked out at the diverse group of beings in the auditorium and took a deep breath. 6 months ago, he began, my people were dying from a plague we could not cure. We sent a desperate message into space, hoping someone would help us. We thought we were asking for medical aid. What we got instead was something we did not expect. We got warships. We got military protection. We got defensive systems and weapons that could level cities. At first we were afraid. We thought the humans had come to conquer us just like the Zelkari hegemony.